But this event is open up to the public. And before we bring him in, let's just give him his props. Yeah, this guy, he just loves basketball. And I tell you what, I love this guy because he's following in my footsteps, and I'm ready to pass the mantle on to him as a DC historian. He is doing some great works. He is Ricky Goins, DC Rick, my man. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
All right. Well, Rick, man, look, big event happening today. Let's talk about the Legend Coalition. What is the Legend Coalition?
Well, it's a league for guys that used to play at their respective schools. It's 30 and over. Mm-hmm. We have about 24 teams from the old inner high, from PG County, and a couple private schools. And the goal really is bring these guys back together to kind of show the young guys they can still do it. And also, you know, it's a reason to play basketball outside of going for a scholarship or something like that. Is, you know, do it because you love it and do it because you want to pass on to the next generation. Mm-hmm. We want to try to bring back, you know, DC playground basketball, recreation basketball. You know, right now it's kind of AAU or nothing. So getting these older guys back out here representing their school might also bring some talent back to these inner high and public schools.
Mm-hmm. And it's a who's who. Rick, before we get into the particulars of this big event starting today and the venue, Legend Coalition, but just talk a little bit about yourself and how you developed this passion as yours truly for DC and for basketball.
Well, I mean, it mainly comes from my father. He was, you know, he played back in the 70s at UDC and Coolidge, and he always taught me as I was a little boy, you know, to have a lot of respect for my elders and the ones that really paved the way. So from there, I just started studying DC basketball and going into the Why Not Us project that we do, where we kind of recognize the legends. And, you know, that's really where my desire to really, and because I'm so passionate about history, I feel like if some young people get to see some history, they may become passionate themselves.
And that's the thing that I try to encourage younger people, that it's okay to talk about your era, because we all will talk about our era. But if you're going to be a gatekeeper of a sport, as you are, as I am, but before me, a Glenn Harris, a Harold Bell, or someone like that, you've got to be a good historian. And so many of our youngsters don't know the history.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your last statement. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying that if we could get more younger people like yourself to become more historians and study the history, so you can piece the present and the past together and have a true understanding of the great game of basketball and how it's played in the District of Columbia. Hey, Rick, stay with us, man. On the other side, I want to talk more about the Legends Coalition and who are some of the players and the teams that will be participating, the times of the game, and the venue. Stay with us. Let's go back to our Newsmaker line. We're pleased to have Ricky Goins, who is talking about the Legend Coalition, which starts today. Talk more about the teams and some of the players who will be participating, and it is going on as we speak. Is that correct?
Yes, we have our tip-off games going on now. Duval and Blanksburg are going at it, close game. So it's going to be good. Some of the guys we're going to have, I mean, Lonnie Baxter just walked in. He has the Anacostia team. We're going to see Charles Harrison and Lawrence Moten on the Curl team. Lawrence Moten's not going to be here today. He'll be here next week. Sam Young's on the roster for Friendly. Jason Muscari and David Vanderpool on the roster for Blair. We got Derek Payne, Donald Haas, Kurt Smith on the roster for Coolidge. Bootney Green, Baby Shaq, Freddie Promise on the roster for Spingarn, and Mike Smith, Brian Chase, Trey Kelly on the roster for Dunbar. Those are some of the bigger names we'll have.
And the games will be played where?
Cesar Chavez public charter school right here on Hayes Street, 3701 Hayes Street Northeast.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about the game today, meaning the game of basketball today at the various levels and how it's played versus 15, 20, 30 years ago. What's the difference as you see it, Ricky?
I think one of the main differences that, number one, there's a lot more isolation basketball. There's less team play. In my mind, the reason why a lot of that is a lot of guys coaching now. There's no offense to some of the great coaches out there, but some of these guys never played the game or weren't taught by guys that really knew the game.
Great point.
So what happens is they watch YouTube videos, they listen to whatever guys say without understanding the meaning, and it's passed down to players. So a lot of guys now was just never taught how to play, because training and teaching are two different things. And I think that part of what needs to happen is the Kurt Smiths and the guys like that got to get out there and coach, because they were taught the right way.
That's right.
And they can pass on to the next generation how to play the right way.
You know, well said. Well, very well said. And that is my comment, in that you have some guys, not all, but some of the people who are coaching didn't come through the ranks. They didn't pay dues. And look, they are very good at gathering talent, but that's it. And I don't care how much talent you have at any level, at some point you're going to have to coach. And Rick, I'm looking at the highest level, the NBA, and these guys do not know how to defend a simple pick and roll.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost to the point where, you know, coaches are scared to coach kids because of the AAU factor, where if you try to coach a kid, he leaves. So I think that dynamic has created a lot of that. So guys get to the highest level based off their potential, and a lot of times they never become the finished product they should be, not because they wasted their position, they were just never in a situation that allowed them to learn what they needed to do.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm looking at an article that came out today, Washington Post, and it was written by Tim Bontemps, okay? And he has top 40 since NBA-ABA merger, and they're celebrating 40 years. This is the 40th anniversary of the ABA-NBA merger. So now he's got the top 40 players in his opinion. He's got Michael Jordan 1. He's got LeBron James 2. He's got Tim Duncan 3, Magic 4, Bird 5, Hakeem 6, Shaq 7, Kevin Garnett 8, Kobe 9, and Derek Nowitzki 10. Now, that's his first 10. He's got Garnett, Nowitzki, Kobe Bryant, Duncan, and Shaq in front of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Well, you know, it's funny. I think a lot of that comes with the visibility of the game. Like, you know, Michael Jordan has kind of weighted that, but a lot of guys that were really good, because they don't have a highlight tape on YouTube, people have discredited their game. I mean, a lot of people don't even realize how really good Dr. J was. They think all he did was dunk.
Right.
But that's because that's all you see. So I think some of that's just a technology gap between now and then. If they saw Jabbar dominate high school and not lose a game or not lose a college game, I think that they would have a better understanding than looking at the game now when you can see videos in HD. And guys, I mean, TV make guys look a lot better than what they really are.
No question.
So I think that's a lot of it when it comes to how the games proceed.
Let's look at, you mentioned Dr. J, Julius Erving. He has him ranked at number 20. Now, in front of him, he's got Scottie Pippen. He's got Dwayne Wade. He's got Jason Kidd. He's got David Robinson in front of Dr. J. Come on, this kills me. And that goes back, Ricky, of our conversation. If you have not had a chance to see these guys play, okay? I never saw Jackie Robinson play in person. But when I'm talking baseball, You talk about the utilization of technology today. You can find anybody who played on YouTube now. How in the world can you have Dr. J at number 20 and have people like Nowitzki, Wade, Scotty, Robinson, Kevin Durant in front of Dr. J? I mean, is it in a bottle or a can? That's what I would ask this young man respectfully.
I mean, it's funny. Me and to tie that all back to the league. Me and Lonnie Harrell have this conversation a lot. He says what people don't realize about DC basketball is it's not a lot of film, right? So you can't go pull. You can look at the Rucker League or the Baker League or the leagues out of California. Look at film. Mm-hmm. Nobody. There's 2 or 3 generations that never saw Stacey Robinson play the game.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So or Ducky Vaughn, and both of them are here with me right now, never played the game. Mm-hmm. So that some of that was intentional, some of it was unintentional, but because of that, people hear about Stacey and Ducky, and as time go on, people don't realize what they really did. But like if there was footage of those guys, mm-hmm. when that whole idea that Kevin Durant or Markelle Fultz is the first thing to come through here. I mean, they were number 1 picks in the draft way before Markelle Fultz. No disrespect to him, he's a great player.
No question.
But we don't see that, so we think we think this is we started this because we didn't see it.
Let me give you a name, and this is an old school name, and one of the missions of this show is to keep the history and legacy of the DMV sports and pioneers alive, and I think we do an excellent job. But when you talk about wizardry with the ball, when you talk about someone who could do magic and tricks with the ball, I'm going to give you a name. I don't know whether you've heard of the name or not, but do some research. He played for Cardozo High School, was a graduate in 1964, and his name was Philip Bo Scott. Are you familiar with that name?
I'm actually not, and I'm surprised that I haven't. I haven't heard that name.
Okay, well, and I say that for you and all the younger players because if you look at the great guards, the guards who had the quickness, the guards who could do tricks with the ball, a Kurt Smith, a Ducky Vaughn, we can go on and on. Well, Bo Scott was the precursor to all of them. This guy was unbelievable and, arguably the greatest point guard to ever play the game here in the DMV. And I just wanted to throw that name out, do some research.
I will do.
Yeah, and again, Stacey Robinson, simply one of the best, man. Simply one of the best. And you go back to Prince George's County, and I get into the conversations with younger people, and the first person they bring up is Len Bias. Yeah, Len Bias was a very good player at Northwestern, developed into a great collegiate player. But for my money, the greatest player to come out of Prince George's County, my money, is Harold Fox.
I've heard that before.
Yep. Harold Fox. Well, once again, give us all the particulars of the Legend Coalition opening tip-off today, and the league will run until when?
You're going to run until the last week in July when we'll have the playoffs. It'll be Saturdays and Sundays here at Chavez. We won't play on Father's Day. Mm-hmm. We'll be here every other Saturday and Sunday through July. And we'll have about 5 games a day. Today we're having 9 for opening day. We'll have 5 games a day. And, come check out some of these legends, and hopefully it's something that can grow. And, I'm not saying it'll ever be the Herbo, but possibly it could create something similar.
Absolutely. Well, look, man, big props to you for being a gatekeeper, so to speak, of DMV basketball. You've got my support in any way. And then what I want to do, I'll get back with you this week, and maybe once a week we can get a legend. Let's keep moving. Let's talk about another legend who is participating down at the Legend Coalition. You remember him in the 90s, just an outstanding point guard and scorer for Dunbar High School, tremendous collegiate player. And this guy has played all over the world, literally and figuratively. He is from Dunbar, the Crimson Tide, Brian Chase. Hey, Brian, how are you, man?
Man, Mr. McAdams, how you doing?
Oh, I am good. I'm good. How's that jump shot, man?
Say that again?
How is that jump shot?
Oh, man, the jump shot never fails. That's the last thing to go always. The rest of your body will leave, but the jump shot is like riding a bike.
Well, look, man, I remember you, as I said, you were just a tremendous combo type skill point guard, meaning that you could facilitate, you could dish, but boy, you could score and score a lot of ways. Talk about growing up playing basketball in the DMV, how you got started, and who were some of the people you patterned your game after.
Well, just growing up, I'm from Southeast Washington, D.C., and I never really patterned my game after anybody. I just always wanted to compete for respect. Mm-hmm. Competition it was the motivation for me. And I wound up going to Dunbar instead of Anacostia because I had a coach by the name of Gary Lampkins who came and got me from Kramer Junior High School. And he told me that if I wanted to be great, that I could accomplish everything that I wanted to accomplish in life when it comes to basketball. And he didn't sell me a dream or anything, and that's what motivated me to go to Dunbar. So when I got to Dunbar and I see all the names hanging in the rafters and, of the people that played before me, then it turned into something else. My motivation changed because I wanted to be one of those guys as opposed to, just somebody who played high school basketball. And, man, I bought into the system. I bought into just working hard. And, it took me as far as it took me, with a 13-year pro career and, spent a little bit of time with the Utah Jazz and the Miami Heat. Mm-hmm. But I never dreamed of that. But it happened because I just worked extremely hard.
Mm-hmm. And when you look at a Steph Curry in terms of his game, how he plays with his range, with his quickness, do you look at Steph Curry sometimes and say, man, I played like that back in the day?
No, I'm actually envious of Steph Curry because as a person that can shoot the basketball, I'm trying to figure out how can he shoot the basketball in every facet. I've never seen nobody dominate the basketball game from the three-point line.
You're right. Yeah.
And that's what makes him different from everybody else. He dominates the basketball game on the perimeter. And, I'm a huge fan, but then as a shooter, I'm looking like, man, I wish I could do some of the things that he does.
Mm-hmm. And when you played the game, Brian, you were point guard, as I mentioned, and you were what, about maybe 5'10", 5'11"?
5'9.5", 5'10".
Okay, yeah, but extremely quick. Talk about playing ball all over the world. And the different experiences and the different styles of play, whether it's in the NBA for Utah or going to this country or going to that country.
Man, it's just playing in a lot of different countries. It's a little different, but then it helped me, I guess, not necessarily humble myself, but it helped me stay all the way grounded when I came back home to always play basketball the right way. So I watch certain teams in the NBA like Golden State, like San Antonio, where the ball moves and it's no one person that dominates the basketball. And that's how it is in Europe, whether I played in Russia or Turkey or Italy, Croatia, Germany, Spain. I played all over the place, and the basketball stays the same. And then within the basketball, you have to be able to use your individual talent. Whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you can get accomplished, you have to be able to use your individual talent to win games. But the experience was tremendous for me. I had to get adjusted to the lifestyle, and once I got adjusted to the lifestyle, because it's way more practical and it's laid back. But then, in order to be a pro overseas, you have to adjust yourself. You have to adjust yourself in order to be able to make a career over there. And I did that, and, man, it helped me in so many ways. It helped me mature as a basketball player and as a man, as a dad, as a son, as a brother, because it gave me time to just sit back and reflect on everything.
Yeah, Brian Chase is on our Newsmaker line. And Brian, you go to Virginia Tech. Talk about that briefly.
That was probably the best experience of my life because I got a chance to get away and grow up. And that was the first time I got away, from Washington, D.C., from Southeast. And I had to do things on my own, and I had to figure it out. So once I got there, basketball was my mother, my son, my daughter, and everything. And I worked extremely hard. And unfortunately, we didn't win as many games as I would have liked throughout my career. We changed regimes and things like that. But the basketball part of it, man, it was fulfilling. It was fulfilling for me. And I was just blessed with an opportunity to play basketball on a high major level in the Big East and showcase my talent.
Mm-hmm. Man, you've always been one of the players that I admired a great deal from a distance. Was always proud of you and your accomplishments at Virginia Tech, and then playing briefly in the NBA, but having a long, productive career playing overseas. And I tell you, one of my favorite guys, Tony Dobbins, speaks very highly of you. So
my guy.
Yeah, that was enough for me. So, man, but look, thanks for joining us here. Man, you continue your great works beyond basketball. And as I said, we are so proud of you, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, folks. And that was Brian Chase